Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 221 of a year of change. Today we're going to lighten up a little bit. Yesterday was unintentionally heavy and depressing. I think it was something important that we should have talked about anyway, but just every now and then you just sort of go bleh, and then you're done and then you think that was really tough to probably sit through. But today we're going to sort of lighten up a little bit, just a bit. I don't actually have a snack or food or something to show you today. Today's going to be a little bit different because just since we're sort of sitting back and not really taking a break from everything, but just sort of stepping back and taking stock of everything that we've been doing. I've got a number of different things I was going to show. There's still things that we haven't really looked at, like traditional health food, things like cottage cheese, and then things that are not health food, like pasta and stuff like that. Pasta's not bad, just like everything else. It's sort of along those lines. Anything that we've been sort of looking at, when we first started this, it was a matter of saying, well, try this instead of this for a snack. Instead of going for jujubes, then go for, dates. And then instead of chips, go for pickles, something just to sort of offset things. But since I've been trying to find something that's a little bit different, and in this week it's been a little bit difficult, but things started to sort of gravitate more towards different fruits and vegetables and things like that, and which was fine. But when I'm looking now for stuff, it's a little more difficult to do because there are only so many vegetables that you can go, hey, here's something new. It tastes just like everything else. We've pretty much done the unique tasting vegetables, little different things that are out there. Everything else is some sort of variant on lettuce or celery or something like that. Don't worry, we have a few more that we're going to be doing. But in general, I thought, well, we could try going back to the snacking thing, which is what this originally was, a way to try to offer alternatives to things that we, instead of just grabbing a handful of bad shit, then we could have something that's a little bit healthier, maybe not perfect, but better than what we're eating. But since we're now paying so much attention to sodium and sugar and fat and everything else, now when I'm actually looking, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm looking at going, it's probably not the best thing to do, so I'll set that aside, and this isn't really good, so I'll set that aside. Sorry. And it's gotten to a point where yesterday when I was going through and really I'm trying to figure out I need to find something, that I realized that I've started to, not exactly gone overboard, but it's gotten to a point where no matter what we do, no matter what we try to pick for a snack, or regular food or anything else, unless you're eating just carrot sticks and celery sticks and stuff like that, then there is going to be some bad stuff to it. And I've been avoiding all this other stuff, trying to say, well, I don't really want to sort of say, here, try this, even though the sodium is through the roof, because that's what we're trying to watch. And then say, well, I'll trade in the sodium and say, here, try this. Well, the sugar's a little high. This week, especially where we're sort of looking at our numbers a little more closely and trying to take it all in and trying to get a really good balance between everything. My nose is... It's all right. All right. Where we're trying to find sort of a balance on everything. It's a little more difficult to try to find something that isn't bad in one way or the other. And it just sort of got me thinking that, especially where I'm just sort of looking at everything, that I don't ever want us to get to a point where we say, well, I can't have that. Right now, especially since I'm trying to get back on track, I am restricting what I'm eating at that point. I'm really restricting things, like I'm trying to not buy things like pepperoni sticks and jujubes and all the other stuff that I normally would get. So it's more of a matter of just saying, okay, well, I'm just going to have a proper meal when I get home and not worry about snacks and all that stuff. But as we progress through this, the snacking is something that, not constant grazing, as people call grazing, but it's really just constantly eating. And let's face it, the majority of us, when we do have a snack, it is just a regular meal. But when we're trying to find some sort of alternative for that, when you're really, really hungry and you're thinking, I don't really want to eat a full meal because it's going to ruin things, it's going to throw things off, I'm going to have a little something real quick. Inevitably, we're going to get something that's not great for us. But the thing is that even now, for me, I don't think it's a good time for me to go, it's okay if I have some of these here and there. Because I'm just not to that place yet. But there is going to come a time when we are going to be able to actually say, okay, I'm going to have a snack here. I'm going to have a snack there. Not every day, not all day, every day, but once in a while we'll be able to do that, and it will be a sort of a normal thing. But part of that, I think, is that danger of just sort of sliding back into what we used to be like. And I don't know what I'm trying to say. I really don't. Okay, basically what I'm trying to say is that since we've been trying to keep this realistic and keep this practical, there's no snack that we're ever going to find, unless, of course, you just go straight for fruits and vegetables. But there's no snack that we're going to find that's really going to satisfy everything without having some bad aspect to it. With the pickles, it's the sodium. They're insanely high. One pickle is going to give you more sodium than you're supposed to have in the entire run of a day. But it's better than eating an entire bag of chips. It's better than eating a small bag of chips. Stuff like that. I keep wanting to say prunes. Sorry, not prunes. Dried plums now, because you can't buy prunes anymore. Because if you buy prunes, then people think that you can't poop. So they say, no, it's just we put dried plums on the bag. That's really why, because they got all upset because people weren't buying as much as they should, and then they changed the name to dried plums, which is just the exact same thing. And of course, sales started to increase because people went, I can buy dried plums, that's okay. But if I buy prunes, I'm 85 years old and I don't know how to poop by myself. Anyway, sort of off topic there, but instead of, I keep wanting to say prunes, but I'm thinking of dates. But so, going for the dates, I mean, they're 80% sugar. And especially now where we're looking at it going, we're trying to cut back on the sugar. And yes, there's the added sugar and regular sugar and everything else. But it's still better than eating a handful of jujubes. And I'm trying to keep that in perspective because now that we're really looking, sort of trying to keep our sodium where it should be and our sugar and everything else and trying to measure all the different things through the run of a day, it's really difficult to try to find something that isn't simply just a fruit or a vegetable, which is fine. It's great to have because that is something that we need to do, is to get used to having something like that for a snack. But realistically speaking, you're going to want to have something that's bad for you at some point. I unfortunately can't do that right now. The worst thing that I can have right now is probably my coffee. And gradually going to start cutting back on the sugar in there as well. But overall, I'm not to a stage where I can safely say, oh, well, I'm just going to go and buy jujubes again. Or I'm going to go buy chocolate-covered raisins. Or I'm going to buy, I'll just have a few chips. I'm not to that stage yet because I thought I was a few weeks ago and then sort of took stock of everything and went, I'm doing it every single day, and which is why I'm not making any progress. So, as we're doing this week, it's not to say that, we can have whatever we want. We obviously can't. But we can have, some of the things that we want sometimes on rare occasions when it's actually going to mean something. When it actually is going to be something that we consider to be a treat. Our problem is that we go for those things and say, I'm just going to have a few, but we do it all day, every day. And we're just non-stop eating, which is what's gotten us to the point where we are now. For me, anyway. So, maybe you're to a stage where, you only had 20 pounds to lose. And you've made the healthy choices that you needed to make. You're exercising regularly and you're just maintaining. And, maybe you've surpassed that to a stage where you go, no, I can have a few things that I want every once in a while. It's not going to kill me as long as I burn them off and everything is good that way. Because, while there are certainly some people that are out there that, can just spend all day, every day, eating health foods and fruits and vegetables and everything else and say, okay, well, I need to measure out exactly 12.75832 grams of protein and mix that with, this and whatever they have, the healthy things that they do. There are some people that can do that, and we may get to that stage. But right now, we simply aren't there. We're not even a full year into this. And I don't want this to sound like I'm making excuses and saying, it's okay, this is why we're eating bad food. We shouldn't be, obviously. We should be eating healthy foods. We should be eating, making healthy choices when we're trying to have something. Staying away from the snacks and the cookies and the candies and jujubes. I keep bringing up jujubes, but that's why. Because that's one of those things I thought, I can have 5 at a time and it'll be okay. And for a while it was, but then inevitably you look at it and you go, yeah, that's a lot more than I should be having. So I'm not to that stage yet. I'm not ready to say, okay, I can have a few good snacks every once in a while. I really need to sort of curb everything. See, said it properly. Didn't say verb. I need to sort of curb my eating habits again. And when we first started out, we were going really, really slowly, and things were cutting back, and it wasn't that difficult to do, and it still really isn't. It's just getting into that mindset of, no, you're not ready yet. You're not ready to get to that stage where I can say, yeah, no, it's fine. I can buy a burger at McDonald's or something for lunch instead, and then I can make it up later on in the evening. I just don't feel like I'm ready for that yet. So anyway, it's not really a snack related thing, and I don't know if it made any sense. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that with our snacks and with our food in general, with whether it's a regular meal that you're having 3 times a day, or if you're having those 6 tiny meals throughout the day, which some people say that is okay, or just one large meal in the morning and then you're fine, which I wouldn't really recommend you do because that's not really going to be balancing things out. We are creatures of habit. We are creatures where we are going to give in every once in a while. I don't think we're really at a risk now of when you give in, saying, oh, I've obviously screwed up my diet, so I'm going off this and just going on a week-long binge. Very easy to do it with a day-long binge, though, as I have found out. So, my nose is still itchy. I'm okay. But when you're looking for something, if you're saying, okay, I'm going to buy something that isn't really considered to be the best food for me out there, sort of take things into perspective that way, that keep an eye on the sugar and the sodium and everything else. If you're to a stage where you can say, yeah, I can have 5 chips and I'll be okay. I don't know of any of us that can at this stage, but if you can, bravo. For me, I need to not buy it. The easiest way to avoid it is simply not buy it. It's not one of those things where you say, well, I can't have that and I can't have this. I can, but at this stage, I really don't want to, because I feel that if I start in, not that I can't stop, I'm not that far gone. I'm still have that off button now, which has been really tough to try to get to, where, if someone hands me a cake or something, I can have a regular piece and I'll be okay. But part of me also is thinking, yeah, I could have a bigger piece and a bigger piece. And if you don't cut a piece out of it and just take the fork to it, that's still one piece of cake. So I think, anyway, it's going to be different for everybody, whether or not you think that you're ready for it. Probably a good rule of thumb is to say that if you are asking, am I ready for it? Then the answer is probably no. If you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can say, no, I've gotten down to where I'm maintaining, I'm still losing, and I can have something that I want once in a while. I don't have to set aside a cheat day to have that. That it's something that you can have a little something and you'll still be okay. Then by all means, go to it. Everyone's going to know where they stand. We're very good at lying to ourselves, though. So if you're looking at it and going, no, I probably could, deep down, if you know that you can't, don't risk it. It's just one of those things that, I keep saying that. It's driving me nuts because I'm very much aware of it now. It's something that, it's the exact same thing, that, I've lost my train of thought now. Bah! There we go. Yes, lying to ourselves. There we are. We all know, deep down, when we're lying to ourselves, whether or not we're ready for it. And if you're just doing it to have that excuse of saying, no, I'm just going to have a cheat day, then it's not going to be worth it. Because we know where that leads. And we've spent a lifetime living there. And we've made a lot of progress getting to a stage where we're getting rid of that. Where eventually we will be able to say, okay, it's okay. I can go out with friends and I can have an ice cream or something. Whatever you do when you're with friends. That you'll be able to do that. And it's going to be enough. It's not going to be sort of the embryo stage of a huge food bender where you're buying boxes of cakes and, having entire turkey dinners and going to a buffet and just taking the bacon steam tray back to your table. It's, for me right now, it's something that I want to stay away from because it's hindering my progress and I don't need it. It's something that I'm not saying, oh, God, I'm craving this so badly. I'm not. It's just one of those things that it's just, I'm not craving it. It's just that if I have it, I know I'm going to eat it. And I really shouldn't. And I know this because I've bought, 2 or 3 bags of those jujubes, and I've given them all away because I feel not really guilty about eating, but it's to that stage where I think I'm going to do without because I really shouldn't be eating these, but I still buy them. The last bag I had something like 5 out of. Anyway, that's mainly what I want to talk about, but I also wanted to bring up the fact that yesterday I wasn't really going to bring it up anyway, but I keep forgetting to show you my salt shaker. Shaky thing. So, if you remember, the level of the grinder, I'm going to see if, I don't know if I have a picture of it. If I do, I'll put it up here. If there's nothing up there, then I'm just going to go, Anyway, I haven't filled this up. Well, I filled it, and then I haven't touched it. I haven't put any extra salt in there. I've cut way back on the amount that I've been using, and I was going to save this for the end of the week, but I figure, we're talking about food. Should be a good thing. Should be a good time to do it. So if there was a before picture up there, great. If not, hopefully you have a good memory. But this is my salt shaker now. Grinder. Fuck. My salt grinder. And it has barely moved. So this is almost 12 weeks worth. Now normally this would be gone in 2 months. Easy. And I would have refilled it and probably gone to buy some more. And I mean, I have used it a couple of times just when you're cooking something like just chicken and rice and vegetables and that's it. You kind of need a little bit of salt in there. But in the run of a day, I have yet to go beyond 10 turns in one day, which is about 1/3 of a teaspoon. So there you go. Because I counted. And 30 turns of this gives me 1 teaspoon of salt. Anyway, not perfect. And I just realized I put that way in front of my face. It's not perfect, but much, much better. So I need to do the same thing with sugar. And, I mean, really, the amount of sugar that I have is minimal. It's really just in my coffee. But I sort of need to cut back on that as well. Just to get, I mean, obviously I can. I think I may have told you this. When I first started drinking coffee, I never liked the taste of it. And I used to get 3 cream and 5 sugar. So I'm down to 1. So obviously I can do it. So I just need to get rid of that last one and then probably start cutting back on the cream. I'd always like to get to a point where, I don't know, I'm still holding this up because there's nothing to do with cream or coffee or anything else. Anyway, I'd always like to get to a point where I can have black coffee. Just because I want to be able to enjoy the taste of the coffee and be able to appreciate, the different types that are in there. I should say that for a food thing. Because coffee doesn't have any calories in it. There we go. Coffee and tea. There we go. There's another one. Tea, which is weird because I don't put anything in tea when I have it. Because I don't like it. I just want to be able to taste the tea. And for some reason I can do that, but I can't do that with coffee. Maybe if I got really, really good coffee and just tried it that way, maybe I would be able to appreciate it more. But I don't like bitter things. So, anyway. That's a topic for another day. But for right now, I'm going to leave this video here. So thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. And in the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.